Welcome back to Andersen Acres. We're out here with Shadowfax today, who actually has a little bit of mud on him because it warmed up and we've had some mud to roll in. So, yeah. It is actually, for a few minutes today, it actually went above freezing, which is not super common in January, but I'll take it because, frankly, it's been 40 below and it's going to be 40 below on the weekend. But that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about another health condition that can affect your miniature horse. Now, miniature horses are kind of prone to metabolic diseases. This is not just miniature horses, though. This is all of the horses that you might classify as easy keepers, the ones that get fat on air. They're so easy, partially because they're prone to metabolic diseases. Okay? What are metabolic disorders? So these are basically hormone imbalances, and they usually affect either middle-aged or elderly horses. Okay? That is more common. It's not like they can't affect younger horses. It's just not common, and I'm literally getting dripped on because it's melting. That's not a bad thing. But that's not the point. However, so it is more common in middle-aged and elderly horses. The older your mini gets, the more likely he is to develop a metabolic disorder. So these can also make horses prone to other disorders if they end up with a metabolic disorder. Now, there are a few different metabolic disorders, including Cushing's disease, and we tend to group these guys into equine metabolic syndrome, EMS. There's different types like Cushing's. But one of the symptoms of metabolic disorders is if you have unexplained abnormal fat deposits, especially on the crest of the neck, along the crest of the neck, along the back, and right at the top of the tail there. If you have kind of these squishy fat deposits and they're not from an injury and you're trying to figure out what the heck is going on, there's kind of a decent chance that it might be metabolic in nature. So you might want to get that checked out by a vet as soon as possible. Horses that have metabolic diseases have insulin resistance, and they can also develop other related problems. They have problems with carbs and sugars, basically. So it's like kind of like humans. If we have metabolic problems, sometimes we have problems with carbs and sugars. It's not that much fun, but it is what it is. So one of the kind of hallmark metabolic problems is Cushing's disease. This is a dysfunction of the pituitary gland, and it results in increased cortisol and ACTH. This just, it just plays havoc with their systems because your hormones are important. Whether you're a human or a horse, your hormones are important. You need them functioning properly. If they're out of whack, you can end up, your horse, not you, you're a human, the horse, can end up with things like laminitis, also called founder. They can end up with muscle wasting, poor energy, unexpected weight loss. They can end up with this long curly coat that doesn't shed out, and it's really weird. And they can also basically just have a poor immune system. So if your pony's always getting sick, you might want to take a look at metabolic disorders as a possible explanation. Now, these have to be diagnosed by blood tests with a vet. So you get your vet out, you have a conversation about what your concerns are, and they run the blood tests. There are different blood tests for different metabolic conditions. There's the turkey. Hi. Hi, are you coming to spy on us? 'Cause you're fancy? Yeah. They're curious creatures. They like to come hang out. Anyway, but your vet comes out, runs the tests, figures out which metabolic condition you have and how to treat it. Can you prevent them? Yeah, to some extent. Not completely, but there are things you can do to mitigate the risk factors. Hi. I'm being spied on again. Hello, mister. Yes. He's out of here. He doesn't like me anymore. So yes, there are things you can do to kind of help push them off. You might not be able to prevent them entirely, but you can kind of lower the risk by managing a high-risk horse. So first of all, you want to manage their weight. You don't want them super fat. fast. You do want your pony fast. You want them to be able to move. You don't want them fat. So you definitely do not want a pony that is overly fat, okay? That's why we talk so much about dry lots and keeping them off green grass. It's not just because of founder. It's because we do not want them chonky. A chonky pony can have a whole lot of problems. So we definitely want to try to mitigate those by keeping the weight down. You want to keep the diet low in carbs and sugars. If your pony is at risk for a metabolic condition or has one, keep the diet low in sugars and carbs. You maybe want to look for a feed that is designed for horses prone to metabolic conditions. They make them. Okay, they 100% make these. So if you do have a pony that is prone to these disorders, you definitely want to get them on the correct feed. You can even soak your hay and then pull the hay out of the water before feeding it. Soak your hay for a couple of hours and it helps leach some of that sugar out of the hay. Even that can help. You're going to want to talk to your vet about ways that you can help your pony. Once you have a diagnosis, you can't cure the disease. You can only manage it. We don't have a cure for these metabolic conditions yet. Okay? We simply do not. But you can try to manage them. So one of the ways you can manage them is the feed, like I've already discussed. Keep the feed under control. You do not want these guys to bloat up. You want them to exercise to keep that weight off. It is so important. You want to administer the daily medication recommended by your vet. Don't skip it. It only works if given every day. And remember that a diagnosis of a metabolic condition is not the end of the world. Okay? I know it's a serious condition and you do need to treat it and you do need to medicate for it or your horse can really have some pretty dire consequences. But all of that being said, it's not the end of the world. It is entirely possible for your horse to live a long and healthy life after being diagnosed with a metabolic condition. So do exactly what your vet says. Get properly diagnosed, get properly medicated, manage the feed, keep the weight down, and your horse should live a long and happy life. It's not a death sentence. It's just something that needs managing. Anyway, that is about it for us here today at Andersen Acres. Good luck with your mini horse. We'll see you tomorrow.